because what you do as a career ultimately has a long-lasting impact on your life and how you ultimately span your life.
Hi, this is Sushil Mungekar. In last 20 years of my career, working as a professional in corporates or working as an entrepreneur on my own startups, and then again coming back into the education system and working on nurturing entrepreneur mindset among children, I realized one thing, that our current education system needs a definite, immediate and a constructive change. This channel is mere an opportunity to connect a parent in me with a parent in you.
Most of us would agree that whatever we learned during our education system, we rarely use that in our professional careers. On the other hand, whatever we do in our professional careers, we have rarely learned that in our education system in a formal way. So this gap needs to be bridged. There are so many tools that we use during our professions which we feel, oh fish, I would have learned this kind of tools when I was a child itself, it could have been far better. That was the eureka when I really thought that can we pick up some of those tools and bring it back to students so that they start preparing themselves, their mindset well in advance, so that this can help them to be successful in any career that they take. That's the genesis of this masterclass. Hey all, welcome back to the 10th episode of my masterclass on 12 essential tools we must teach our students before they finish their schooling. Remember our stated position, we said that we want our children to create value for themselves, and the best way to create value for themselves is to create value for others, and that will really set their life. We have spoken a lot about entrepreneur mindset, empathy, problem identification, problem solving, ideation. In the last episode, we also looked at building a social capital, something which is very important for collaborating with people. If you have missed on any of those, please go back to the description below and catch up with all those masterclasses, because that will really help you to understand how we can really transform children at this age. Today we are going to talk about another interesting tool which I personally learned in my life rather late, and I really wished if I would have learned that much earlier, my life would have been different. This tool can really transform the way children can think right at this age. So stay tuned, this is going to be a killer. And by the way, if you are not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, because we keep talking about all these things which can really enrich you as a parent, enrich your child, and really help them to be ready for the future. So let's come to today's tool. I'm going to break the monotony of breaking this into sections. I'm going to talk about this tool in a great detail as we go along. This tool is nothing but Ikigai. I'm sure many of you would have heard this word Ikigai, a Japanese word for finding the purpose of life. Hector Garcia, who has written a popular book Ikigai, which is now available in many of the languages. If you can grab the copy of this book, please grab that, read that, give it to your children, and give it to as many people as you know, because that can really transform their life. I'm going to summarize some of those findings written in the book in a different way so that it can really help children. Most of the drawing board conversations, especially after results, is which career to pick up. And I clearly see a dichotomy between a child and a parent. They sometimes come to loggerhead. Child says, I want to pursue X, whereas parents say, no, you can't pursue that X, let's pursue Y, because that is really good, that is something which is booming. You will be able to make lots and lots of money if you pursue that Y. And child is really not able to understand that when I'm liking to do X, why the hell my parents are pushing me to do Y? And that kind of a friction really creates animosity among parent and a child. Many of the times, it also leads to children getting into depression, children going into a completely wrong track, and that is something which can be avoided greatly by using Ikigai as a tool. So let's understand what this Ikigai is talk about. Ikigai as a principle talks about 4 simple things of decoding your way of life. While it talks about way of life, it can be beautifully used for selecting what ultimately you want to do. Because what you do as a career ultimately has a long-lasting impact on your life and how you ultimately span your life. So Ikigai is really summarized in just 4 circles, and beautifully it helps you to understand the meaning of a life. The best way to do that is to sit with your child and build that together. The first circle talks about what you love. Sit with your child and write down what he or she really loves to do. And it can be anything, right? From sports to talking to communication to writing to traveling to playing and so on and so forth. Let them write down all the things that they love. And when they talk about love, it's not about hobbies. It's about genuinely something which they would like to pursue in life. Something which they would not be happy if that has been taken away from their life. Let them write down those 4, 5, 6 activities. Here, try and avoid places, people, objects, and make sure that they are writing about activities that they would like. Once they finish that, keep that paper aside. Then let's come to what they are good at, and let them write down what they believe they are good at. It's extremely easy to say I'm good at so many things, but when you sit to write down what you're good at, then that's the real test. Let them write down, and that need not be the same as what they love. It may happen that I just love singing, but I may not be good at singing. That will really come and reflect on those charts. Let them write down all those activities which they are good at. Once they write down all those things which they are good at, keep that paper aside. Take a third paper and let them write down what they believe that they can be paid for. And now that's the interesting thing. I may love to sing, I may be good at singing, but will people take out money from their pocket and pay me for my singing? That's the real reflection that you need to do. And once you do that, make your child write down only those activities which they believe they can be paid for. It can be communication, it can be talking, it can be writing, it can be traveling, it can be videos, it can be science knowledge, it can be teaching, whichever way they believe that they can actually be paid for, let them write down. Remember, it can be completely different than what they are good at. It can be completely different than what they love as well. Once they write down what they are good at, keep that paper aside. Take the fourth paper and write down what does the world need. Now here they can start writing about their impression about what are the things world need at this point of time. Here as a parent you can really help them to understand what is really trending. Entertainment for that matter, or digital footprint for that matter, or logistics, interesting things which are changing in the world and really making an impact. You can start writing on those. So you have 4 different papers where you have written what you love, what you are good at, what you think you will be paid for, and what world needs. Once you bring all these papers together, sit with your child and understand what is common between the circles. So whatever is common between what they love and what they are good at is actually their passion. Something which they love from bottom of their heart, and therefore they have built proficiency and they are good at it. That is a passion that they need to preserve. Whatever is common between what they are good at and what they would be paid for is nothing but their profession. Something which are their skills and they also can be paid for. So that can be easily taken as a profession. Whatever is common between what they would be paid for and what people need is actually vocation. Something which can really help them to make money because they believe they can be paid for and people also need. That's the best vocation that they should get into. And all that what is common between what they love and what people would need is the mission. Something which can actually be a mission of their life. And if there is something which is common between all the 4 circles, that is Ikigai. That's the sweet spot. That is what they can ideally call as a purpose of their life. Eureka. Because once they get that, then that is something which they can pursue, which will make them happy, which by the way they are extremely good at, which also can make money for them, and that is something which is needed by people. So children at their age, if they can find out their own Ikigai, I think they'll be simply unstoppable. In education system, we always put children through multiple courses so that they can find out whether they are good at those courses. But very rarely we find out what is good at them. If children can really find out their Ikigai through this process, then that can set their life for next 30, 40, 50 years. They can build their careers, they can build multiple careers, and forget about career, they can actually give a shape to their life in many ways. They can create a lot of their ecosystem using that purpose of life. And that is something which is very important. So if children are not able to find out exact Ikigai, for example, there is nothing which is common between all the 4 circles, doesn't matter. Whatever is common between 2 circles, 3 circles, they can take it ahead and ultimately or eventually that can convert into a Ikigai if they really give a focus to that. And that is the process of finding their own Ikigai. Whether they find it today or whether they find it later, I think finding Ikigai early in life can be the best blessing we can give to our children. Something which can form a basis for choosing a career rather than imposing a career from a parent's perspective on a child, or rather than doing something which friends pursue, or rather than doing something which you believe ultimately will become big. Ikigai gives you a scientific tool for choosing your career, and not only choosing your career but defining and finding out your purpose of life. Go ahead and use that. If you like this video, please follow, subscribe and send it to as many people as you want, because this can reach out to many people and it can help them to transform their lives. Just as this, in the 11th episode, we'll come up with another interesting tool which can really transform people's life. Till then, bye.